Hey, what's up guys, my name is Mr. Freeze2244 and I'm going to cover this subject of the Epic Games Store controversy that's happened recently. Recently, IO Interactive announced that for PC players, the only way you're going to get to play Hitman 3 from January 2021 is if you buy exclusively on the Epic Games Store. And a lot of people, understandably, have a huge problem with this, because people don't want to wait a whole entire year, because that's what they're doing. You have to wait an entire year for it to be released on Steam. And those of you that have all the games on your Steam library, who enjoy achievements or who enjoy reviewing games, enjoy interacting with your friends on there and all that kind of stuff, you don't pretty much get any of those features on the Epic Games Store. People are very angry about this, and there's quite a few people that are willing to even just completely skip Hitman 3 altogether. Now I'm going to go through explain the controversy and explain why people just don't like the Epic Games Store and basically don't like Epic Games in general. And basically I did a poll on my YouTube channel, and over 3,000 have participated now. And basically what the poll said was, are you willing to wait an entire year for it to be released on Steam and then buy it then in 2022, or are you going to buy it when it's released on the Epic Games Store in 2021 in January? And a whopping 60% said they would rather wait an entire year for it to be released on Steam than buy it from the Epic Games Store, which is a huge number of people. I can understand why IO Interactive have gone for the Epic Games, because obviously they must have offered them a bigger percentage for the game sales. But if you're sacrificing 60% of those sales, are you really gonna get that money back? I don't know. But basically, the only way to buy Hitman 3 on PC from January next year is if you buy it from the Epic Games Store. So let's go from the top. In December 2018, the Epic Games Store launches. So the heavyweight in PC gaming world is Valve's Steam service, and a digital storefront and gaming platform that acts like a virtual console. It has friend list services and achievements and many other rich features people expect from services like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Most importantly, for the hundreds of millions of Steam users, the service is a digital library. It's where you buy games and that then are updated and managed by Steam. It offers order to the chaotic, balanced world of PC gaming. All your games, all your friends, and all in one place. For game makers, Steam is the largest PC gaming marketplace in the world, and it offers a massive exposure and a cohesive platform. And for Valve, Steam is a tremendously profitable venture. For every dollar spent on Steam, Valve gets a cut. Traditionally, that cut has been about 30%, so when you buy a game, Valve, who people who own Steam, get the 30% cut of that game. The rest of it goes to the developer. Steam is an entrenched leader, and the Epic Games Store is a new upstart, and it has far fewer features than Steam does, far fewer games in its library, and crucially, a much higher profit margin for anyone selling games. The most foundational way that Epic Games is taking on Steam is by taking the far smaller 12% cut from anyone selling games on its storefront. And that is extremely attractive to game makers, including IO Interactive, of course. So attractive, in fact, that Steam altered its revenue split shortly after the Epic Games Store launched. At the same time, it's attracting very many of Fortnite's millions of PC players. Anyone who has an Epic Games account to play Fortnite already has an Epic Games Store account too. So on top of that, Epic arranged for a series of increasingly high-profile exclusivity deals, and this has upset quite a few people. So I'm getting all this information from Business Insider, so I'll leave a link to that in the description if you want to go and read through that as I'm going through this. So it says, to be clear, no one is upset about Epic Games offering a larger cut of sales to the game makers. That's just business, and obviously people would be all more for and to support that. The major issues surrounded a game called Metro Exodus, the third game in the Metro series of the first-person shooters set in a post-apocalyptic Russia. Just 2 weeks ahead of the game's February 15th launch date, Epic Games announced Metro Exodus would be an Epic Games Store exclusive. It would arrive on Steam 1 year later. But the game's Steam store page was already live, and some people had already pre-ordered. Many others had played the previous two games through Steam, and some of these folks are pretty upset about to hear that the game could only be accessed on PC through a totally different storefront. Then Valve issued a statement on the game's pre-order page, emphasis as, Sales of Metro Exodus have been discontinued on Steam due to a publisher decision to make the game exclusive to another PC store. The developer and publisher have assured us that all prior sales of the game on Steam will be fulfilled on Steam, and Steam owners will be able to access the game and any features, updates, or DLC through Steam. We think the decision to remove the game is unfair to Steam customers, especially after a long pre-sale period. We apologise to Steam customers that are expecting it to be available through sale on February 15th release date, but we were only recently informed of the decision given limited time to let everyone know. What happened next was foreshadowing a coming trend, so-called review bombing. So in retaliation, people review bombed the previous games in the franchise that became Epic Game Store exclusives. So people just not happy with exclusivity deals. It's just bad in every way. It doesn't benefit anyone except for the developers and obviously the store. After Metro Exodus, Epic Games announced a string of other high-profile exclusive games coming to its PC store: The Division 2, Borderlands 3, and a variety of others. Like the previous games in the Metro series, both The Division and Borderlands had previous games available on the Steam store, and they were the target of so-called review bombs as well. Since the Steam storefront has a review function for users, whether they own the game or not, the system can be gamed. Steam users can attack a game's review score in the effort to send message to the game's maker. That's exactly what they did with previous Metro games as seen above. So what people are doing is they review bomb the games that were exclusive to Epic Games Store. They're basically taking it out on the developer. It's their way of showing their distaste for what they've done, really. And it goes on. The backlash to the Epic Games Store has stirred criticism of Epic's relationship with Tencent, a major Chinese stakeholder. Tencent is a major Chinese company and has several major investments in the video game market. It's a majority stakeholder of League of Legends studio Riot Games, and a majority stakeholder in Clash of Clans studio Supercell. It's also an investor in Activision, which is the Call of Duty and the Ubisoft Assassin's Creed, amongst others. To put it mildly, Tencent is one of the biggest stakeholders in the video game industry. In addition to all the previously mentioned companies, Tencent owns 40% of Epic Games, and thus, because Chinese company Tencent owns 40% of Epic Games, the Epic Games Store has been labelled spyware by some fans. The most prominent post surfaced by Google accusing the Epic Games Store of spying on users is from Reddit. It alleges that Tencent has a very heavy ties to the Chinese government and ties their allegations to various technical processes carried out by the Epic Games Store application. So people are having the idea that if you download stuff from the Epic Games Store and you have an Epic Games Store account, that your information is going to be not very safe. So again, that's one of the reasons why people are trying to stay away from the whole Epic Games Store stuff. It goes on. Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney denies allegations of spying through the Epic Games Store app. He says, "I support everyone's right to complain about the tech industry stuff." Sweeney wrote on Twitter earlier this month that Epic Games Store with exclusive games and Spartan feature set is a fine target for ire, but please help separate facts and opinions from the lies about spyware and foreign control. Sweeney is a founder of Epic Games, in addition to being the CEO. He's been with the company from day one. He's a well-respected video game industry veteran. He says, I'm controlling shareholder in Epic Games and I've been since 1991. We have a number of outside investors now. Tencent is the largest. All of Epic's investors, our friends and partners. None can dictate decisions to Epic, and none have access to Epic customer data. He noted his long relationship with Tencent CEO Pony Ma are going all the way back from the early 2000s, and pointed out a recent anti-China rage as a culprit for spyware allegations. So, everyone knows about the spyware allegations with China, especially with the mobile phone, Huawei and things like that. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to deal with that. Next, it moves on to, as Epic Games began locking down exclusive games from smaller indie developers, the backlash reached a fever pitch. When the small indie team behind an upcoming game named Ooblets announced plans to exclusively launch on the Epic Games Store, people were furious. But to Rebecca Cordingley and Ben Wasser, the married couple behind Ooblets, the arrangement was hugely important. By signing with Epic, the Fortnite publisher guaranteed upfront to make the game a financial success. A hugely important goal to reach for a small indie team. Obviously, you'd snap at the chance if you was. But instead of support from excited fans from the upcoming game, the couple will receive death threats and horrific insults. When this is all said and done, and your game and your career are in shambles, I hope your wife leaves you. Based on your her post through, you guys are a perfect pair of shitheads, one Reddit user wrote. So that's not my quote, by the way, it's their quote from Reddit. The equal and opposite situation played out over the weekend of August 17th with another indie studio, Unfold Games, when it announced that it wouldn't be taking the offer from Epic Games for exclusivity of its upcoming game, DRQ, or Dark. I like money, and getting some upfront payment on top of guaranteed revenue sounds great, a representative from the studio wrote. But although I'm a first-time developer, I'm very serious about working in this industry for a very long time. I just had announced a Dark release date on Steam, pulling the game off Steam a few days later after Steam release date announcement would forever ruin the credibility of my studio. Thus the two indie studios became the most proxies in the ongoing battle over PC gaming. Number 7. Why are people mad, and what's next? There are a variety of reasons why people are mad about the Epic Games Store, but the central reason is simple. By paying for exclusivity deals with big games, fans of both franchises are obligated to buy the game through the Epic Games Store. It doesn't cost anything to sign up for Epic Games account or to download the Epic Games Store application, but it's an entirely different ecosystem than Steam, with fewer features than Steam, and the only reason the game is there is because of business. Epic paid the game's publisher for a window of exclusivity, and it's the same thing with IO Interactive for Hitman 3. More meaningfully, if you are an indie developer interested in bringing your own game to Epic Games Store and to Steam, Epic won't allow that. The concept known as SimShip, or simultaneous shipping, isn't allowed by Epic for smaller games. The game either goes to Steam or it goes to Epic Games Store, but Epic won't allow for both. Really scummy thing to do. That standard is adding fuel to the fire because Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney has reportedly argued that Epic Games Store intends to add options for players rather than, say, being a shrewd business move for a major corporation. While it may be frustrating, it's extremely unlikely to stop. Not only is Epic Games making more than enough money to keep paying for exclusives, but the move has been a major success. Metro Exodus sold 2.5 times the previous game in the series. And that's the situation we're in right now. Like these are just a few reasons why people just don't want to be dealing with Epic Games, and the reason why people would rather skip an entire year of Hitman 3 and its content, because they really just do not want to associate themselves with the Epic Games Store. They're even offering free games. Even Hitman 2016 is going to be for free on the Epic Games Store to lure people in. And most recently, Epic Games has been getting into a whole battle situation with Apple and other users. I mean, recently I think they was suing Apple for Apple taking Fortnite off their app, even with Google as well. Basically, the whole situation behind that is what I'll explain here today. It says, today Epic announced the Fortnite Mega Drop, a permanent discount on V-Bucks for other cash purchases in-game of up to 20%. The developer is quick to point out that it's not a sale, and these are new prices for the in-app currency in both PC and console versions of the game. On mobile, however, things are a bit more complicated. Both on iOS and Android, Epic has introduced a new direct payment option. So if you want to buy V-Bucks for Fortnite for the game, usually would purchase through the Apple app, iOS and Google Play Store, and for a certain fee. So what Epic are doing is coming up with their own payment scheme that bypasses that completely. And so instead of Epic paying the 30% cut to Apple or Google, they are completely bypassing that and getting all of the money. So, and Apple and Google obviously don't like that, and what Apple have done in retaliation, as well as Google, is removed Fortnite completely from their app stores. So I'll go on here. It says, if you purchase V-Bucks or anything else in the game through the App Store or Google Play Store, it will cost the same as always, but the new direct option comes with a discount. When you select it, the game sends you to a payment screen where you can choose either a credit card or PayPal. Currently, there are no savings if players use Apple and Google payment options, where Apple and Google collect an exorbitant 30% fee on all payments. Epic says if Apple and Google lower their fees on payments, Epic will pass along the savings to the players. So, unusually, if you wanted to buy 1,000 V-Bucks, it would be $9.99. But with the Epic Direct payments, you can bypass that and just pay just $7.99. So it's a $2 saving. So Obviously, if you're a player and you want V-Bucks, you're obviously going to go for the cheaper option, and that just pisses off Apple and Google. But not only that, it's not even allowed. So it says it's not clear here to see how Epic is able to get around these fees, but here's some more detail from the company's FAQ. Question 1. Why has Epic decided to implement its payment system for purchases inside Fortnite on iOS and Android? The answer is by offering an alternative payment system, we're not only offering players more choice, but we're able to pass along the savings to the players. Does a new payment method on mobile mean purchases that are less safe? No. Thousands of apps on the App Store improved by Apple accept direct payments, including commonly used apps like Amazon, Grubhub, Nike, and Best Buy, DoorDash, Fandango, McDonald's, Uber, Lyft, and StubHub. We think all the developers should be free to support direct payments in all apps. In operating Fortnite in an open platform and operating the Epic Games Store, Epic has processed over $1.6 billion of direct payments successfully and uses industry-trusted encryption and security measures to protect customer transactions. Clearly, Apple and Google acknowledge that third-party payment services are safe and acceptable for goods and services. Epic Direct Payment simply offers players the same kinds of payment options as other apps. Of course, the battle between Epic and mobile app stores isn't new. In 2018, the developer ignored Google Play completely when launching Fortnite on Android before eventually giving it in early this year. After 18 months of operating Fortnite on Android outside of the Google Play Store, we've come to a basic realization that Epic said in a statement back in April. Google puts software downloadable outside of Google Play at disadvantage through technical and business measures such as a scary repetitive security pop-ups for downloaded and updated software, restrictive manufacturer and carrier agreements and dealings, Google public relations characterizing third-party software sources as malware, and new efforts such as Google Play Protect to outright block software obtained outside the Google Play Store. So because of Epic's way of bypassing the payment through the Apple Store and the Google Play Store, Apple has removed Epic Games' Battle Royale game from Fortnite from the App Store after the developer on Thursday implemented its own in-app payment system, and that bypassed Apple's standard 30% fee. The decision marks a significant escalation in the feud between Epic and one of the world's most dominant mobile software marketplaces. It also comes at an especially fraught time for Apple as the iPhone maker navigates antitrust concerns over its operation of the App Store and its rules that it imposes to certain developers. Today, Epic Games took an unfortunate step of violating the App Store guidelines that are applied equally to every developer and designed to keep the store safe for our users. As a result, their Fortnite app has been removed from the store. Epic enabled a feature in its app that were not reviewed or approved by Apple, and they did so with the express intent of violating the App Store guidelines regarding the in-app payments that apply to every developer who sells digital goods or services. Epic has had apps on the App Store for a decade and has benefited from the App Store ecosystem, including its tools, testing and distribution that Apple provides and all developers. Epic agreed to the App Store terms and guidelines freely, and we're glad that they've built such a successful business in the App Store. The fact that their business interests now lead them to push for a special arrangement does not change the fact that these guidelines create a level playing field for all developers and make the store safe for all users. We'll make every effort to work with Epic to resolve these violations so that they can return to Fortnite at the App Store. And judging by how things are progressing with Epic suing Apple, I don't see that changing anytime soon. I think Epic really it just comes down to greed. They just want as much money as possible. They want to monopolize everything. They want to take over basically. It's just, you can see why people just do not like Epic Games at all. They're just out for your money. They don't really care about the players at all. Yes, players will pay a lower fee, bypassing the 30% cut that they have to give to Apple and stuff. But at the end of the day, they've broken the terms of service to Google and Apple, and Epic are even suing them because they took the Fortnite app completely off their stores. You can, like I said, this is why everyone, well not everyone, but 60% of some people, I mean that doesn't account for the whole entire PC player base by any means, but this is why so many people would be willing to skip an entire year of Hitman 3 and all of its live content, including elusive targets, just so they can get on Steam. That's how strongly they feel against this whole entire issue. And every time IO Interactive makes a tweet, you can even check out in their comments of all the people that are just so against this. I think when it comes to this situation with the exclusivity deal for a year with Epic Games Store, combined with the fact that they've obviously done some sort of deal with Sony for a PlayStation VR exclusive. I mean, Epic Games Store doesn't even have VR support, so that definitely isn't going to come out. There's no guarantee it's going to come out for Steam VR in a year's time. I think it's just going to be a PlayStation VR exclusive, really. VR being exclusive to PlayStation users, that is. But Sony must have given them money for that exclusivity, and Epic Games Store must have given them a big chunk of money for exclusivity of Hitman 3 as well. And what people are concerned most about as well is, are people's players' progression going to get carried over from Hitman 2 and Hitman 1 into Hitman 3? The answer is yes. All the progression, as I said in the blog, that all the progression is going to be carried over. But I can't really see that as being a seamless transition, but only time will tell for that. But yeah, obviously this has left a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths when it comes to IO Interactive. I think it's certainly damaged their reputations for sure, and I'm not really sure how they can redeem that, really. So for some people it's not really a big deal, so some people they'll just go, you know what, I'm just going to buy it from day one from the Epic Games Store, it's not going to really matter to me, and that they'll just get on with their day and that's it. But for a lot of people, obviously it means a lot to a lot of people, so I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments as well on this situation. I know it's been a long video, but I thought I'd try to explain as much as I can about all the controversies surrounding Epic Games Store and why people just don't like Epic Games and why they're so against this exclusivity and all that kind of crap. I mean, it's just not on really when it comes to exclusivity, unless it's got your own, for example, it's on console and you've got your own studios for exclusivity. I understand that, but when it comes to locking content out for other players just to stop them from selling more than you do, it's ridiculous, and I don't really like that kind of business. And unfortunately, IO Interactive signed up to that. But I hope IO Interactive got their money out of it. I hope they don't lose too much money, because obviously we want to see a future for Hitman. Hopefully we don't see Hitman 3 as the last one in the series overall. But only time will tell, and maybe some more information will come out of this. Maybe, I don't know, maybe IO Interactive might even change their mind about all this situation. We'll see. But until then, that's it. It's been a long video. If you've been listening to me all the way to the end, I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you're more educated about all this stuff now, and hopefully you understand a little bit clearer why people are so against all this stuff. And yeah. So I just want to credit TheVerge.com and the Business Insider for all the information that I've been sharing in this video. I'll leave links to those in the description as well if you want to go through all this stuff. Whatever. But thank you very much for watching the video. I really do appreciate it. Subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, and hit the bell notification to be notified of all future videos and live streams. Big shout out to Paul Lilly, Venom24 and Alvarado Road Productions, become top tier Psychos members of the channel. If you are interested in becoming a member, just click the join button below for all the information. Or if you want to become a Patreon, just click the link in the description now for that. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord channel. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video when I'll get some more information, probably next week. I'll see you guys later. Cheers.